Today in New York, a chilling conviction, a controversial discharge, and a high-stakes ticket debate. Hold on to your headphones. I'm Dean Bark. Welcome to the City Report, New York's latest. Let's start with this. An 87-year-old parolee is convicted of a gruesome Brooklyn murder and dismemberment. Harvey Marcelin, an 87-year-old parolee with 2 prior murder convictions, has been found guilty by a Brooklyn jury for the 2022 killing of Susan Layden, a Brooklyn woman. Marcelin, who was previously convicted of murder in 1963 and again after a 1984 parole release, was on supervised release when Layden was last seen entering his apartment on February 27, 2022. Surveillance video later showed Marcelin with a shopping bag containing Layden's torso. Additional remains were recovered from his apartment and a nearby garbage can. Sentencing is set for next month. He faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. Here's the latest scoop. Investigators say questions remain about the nature of Marcelin and Layden's relationship. The two had lived in the same Bronx shelter in 2019, and the case later drew attention on several true crime shows. Let's cut to the chase. Allowing someone with a history like Marcelin's back on the streets is a glaring oversight. 3 times in front of a murder jury at 87 is not the kind of longevity anyone in this city roots for. Moving on, Mayor orders an investigation into Bellevue Hospital's discharge protocols after a deadly incident on the subway. Mayor Zoran Mamdani has directed a probe into how Bellevue Hospital, the city's flagship public hospital in Kips Bay, handled a recent psychiatric discharge. Ramel Burke, the suspect arrested at Penn Station, the Midtown Transit hub, was discharged from Bellevue just hours before Ross Falzone, a man in Chelsea, was allegedly pushed down a subway staircase and killed. The mayor has asked NYC Health and Hospitals, the city's public hospital system, and the New York State Department of Health, the state's health regulator, to review the evaluation and discharge process in this case. Time to dig into the details. The investigation will examine whether any red flags were missed and if discharge protocols need tightening to close gaps between mental health care and public safety. The system's failure to catch red flags before tragedy strikes is deeply troubling. When minutes separate a discharge from a death, every step in the process demands scrutiny. Let's pivot to the next story. NYC boosts Legionnaire's disease prevention with increased inspections and testing. The NYC Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, the city's health agency, says it has more than doubled its team of cooling tower inspectors and tripled testing frequency ahead of summer. This follows last August's Central Harlem outbreak that sickened 118 people, hospitalized 92, and killed 7. Investigators traced the outbreak to cooling towers at Harlem Hospital and a city-run health lab. Under a law passed by the city council, building owners must now test for Legionella every 31 days. DCAS, the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, which oversees city buildings and facilities, is coordinating with health officials. For context, Legionnaire's disease is a severe form of pneumonia caused by Legionella bacteria that can spread through building water systems like rooftop cooling towers, with older adults and immunocompromised New Yorkers most at risk. City officials note that staffing shortages and budget cuts had depressed inspection counts before the 2025 outbreak. Looking ahead, the preliminary 2027 budget allocates $13 million for more staff and community outreach if another cluster emerges. What's the takeaway? It's about time the city took a proactive approach to prevent another health crisis. Monthly means every month, not when the heat wave headlines arrive. Shifting gears. NJ residents are being monitored after potential exposure to hantavirus following a cruise ship outbreak. The Andes virus, a type of hantavirus that, unlike most others, can spread person to person, is under watch in our region. 2 New Jersey residents are being monitored after an outbreak aboard the MV Hondius, a cruise ship, led to 8 confirmed cases and 3 deaths. The World Health Organization, the United Nations Public Health Agency, was notified on May 2nd. Hantaviruses typically spread via contact with infected rodents. Symptoms can begin flu-like and escalate to severe pulmonary disease. New Jersey's health department says the public risk is low and New York City officials report no exposures here. Cruise ships remain a hotbed for outbreaks, and vigilance is key. If your vacation requires a contact tracer, it's not exactly the getaway brochure promised. All right, next topic. Andrew Giuliani defends pricey World Cup tickets amid public outcry. Andrew Giuliani, the head of the White House task force on the 2026 World Cup, is backing FIFA, the global governing body of soccer, on charging more than $1,000 for tickets to the U.S. team's opening match. He argues against price controls, framing this as a market-driven call. Fans, predictably, are not amused. The move spotlights a familiar debate around major events, access for regular people versus the premium pricing that big tournaments command. Fans deserve fair access, not a financial barrier to the world's biggest sporting event. Nosebleeds shouldn't require a second mortgage. Well, folks, that's the story in a nutshell. Thanks for tuning into the City Report with Dean Bark, right here in New York. Stay informed, and see you tomorrow.